September 14th, 2021. And yeah, this is an early live stream. I just got up a little while ago. I just let my dog out to go to the bathroom, mainly because also my mom woke me up. I was still sleeping, and she usually tells me, "Hey, I'm leaving." And sometimes I hear it if I'm, half awake, or or I don't hear it because I'm so out of it. I'm just sleeping on the bed, and that's it. But yeah, this live stream I wanted to do because you see the title yourself. As I drink some coffee here to wake me up. But you see the title yourself. It's true. Today, mainly when it hits around, I would say 1 o'clock or so. Today, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific, that is. Today will mark 1 year. 1 year since I was let go from my job at Walmart. Now, as I said in the video I talked about I did a year ago at this time, or around this time frame, not just, today, but a little afterwards. I did something that I shouldn't have done. And it came back to bite me. But when I think about it, this whole, I'm not trying to totally blame it on this situation, but it obviously had an effect on a lot of people, including myself, that this whole pandemic, this whole COVID situation, it caused us to not really think straight. I mean, I knew what I was doing was wrong. I even prayed every time I did it. I prayed to God. I said, "God, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Help my job to understand why I'm doing it. Give all the glory to you. Forgive me for what I'm about to do. Help my job to understand what I'm doing. In your name I pray, amen." Because I knew what I was doing was wrong. And I would pray and give it to him and ask for forgiveness, for doing what I was doing, and to have him help my job to understand why I was doing it. But even though I did all that, something told me deep down eventually I was going to get talked to. But what's surprising is I wasn't talked to immediately. And they saw what I was doing. There's no doubt that they saw, what I was doing. They saw it. They saw what I was doing, and they didn't say anything. And it took somebody from AP region, not in-store region, as asset protection, to talk to me. And I tried to explain to her, why. And I didn't mean to do it. And I didn't want to lose my job. And I was starting to cry a little bit because I didn't want to lose my job again. Because I had lost so many jobs before. Either it's because I was let go due to the fact that they hired way too many people, or the fact that the store was closing, or whatever the case may be. I did not want to be let go. And, I'll give her credit. She said, "We'll try to see if we can save your job," and they didn't. Unfortunately, they let me go. And honestly, I don't know. It's just, to me, even to this day, a year later, I just don't understand that, my store, the company I worked for overall, here, overall in this country, internationally, if you will, that store makes millions and millions of dollars every day across the board, not just here in California, but all across, like I said, the U.S. and all across the world internationally. It makes millions and millions of dollars. So me or anybody else, and even though we know it's wrong to do, me and anybody else taking basically something of, let me see if I can get a visual aid here to show you. Something of the equivalent of something like this, if you know what I mean, or even something like that root beer on the back, if you could see it. That root beer on the back, right there. For them to let go, me or anybody else that does that, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that did it that year. I'm sure I'm not the only one. It doesn't make, and look, I know people are going to say it still doesn't excuse the fact that I did it, and that's true, it doesn't excuse the fact that I did it, but like I said, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. And to me, it's like what I did and what anybody else would do pales in comparison to what they lose on a daily basis. Pales in comparison. And then they choose me to basically say, yeah, we're going to let you go because of that. And even though people have reminded me that, hey, it is your fault, you did do something you shouldn't have done, it's what cost you your job, and I do admit to that, I do agree to that. The thing is, even they, who, I've explained to them, hey, this is why I was let go as best as I could, even they look at it like, that doesn't make any sense. When I was, and here's the thing, even when I was let go that day, when I was let go a year ago, when I was let go, they even said in the store, they looked at me and they're like, that, and I explained what happened, they're like, that doesn't make sense, that's stupid. Why would they let you go over something that, yeah, it was wrong to do, but financially pales in comparison to what they lose on a daily basis and on a weekly basis? It didn't make any sense. It didn't. And, like I said, even my family, when I told them what happened, and they, again, would tell me, yeah, well, it was kind of that, and again, what I'm trying to say is, they would tell me that, yeah, it was your fault, Brian, that you were let go. And like I said, I totally admit to that. I know it was partially, if not mostly, my fault, all because of what I did. I admit to that yes, it was partially, if not mostly, my fault for what I did. But here's the thing. I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking on this morning. But like I said, here's the thing. What was I? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I just got distracted with a comment, a live chat comment. But anyway, like I said, here's the thing. It just didn't make sense. And again, like I said, my family would remind me that it was wrong, and that's what I was getting at before I had to read the comment there. And thank you for asking how I'm doing. It's no problem, man. It's no problem. It's just early too. It's about 7:30 a.m. Pacific right now. But anyway, like I said, even my family, my mom, my sisters would say what I did was wrong, in which I admitted to, and I agreed. Yeah, it was partially, if not mostly, my fault for what I did. But even they would agree that that doesn't make sense. That they would let me go over such, in a minor infraction that, it would, that basically that would warrant more of either a suspension, maybe a month-long suspension without pay, or, maybe some kind of consequence to where, what you make in your check, half of that goes to, paying back for what I took. Those would have been better options. Those would have been, better options, if you will, as punishment or consequences to receive than what happened here. So even though like I said, my family tells me the same thing, that it is my fault, and I know it is, mostly if not partially, they agree that something doesn't seem right, something's a little off. And what's funny is my family has dealt with this in their jobs as well. It's like they could do they could make the smallest of mistakes, or they could do the minor of infragments, if you will, or infragmentations. They could do the minor of infragmentations, if you will, that are wrong, and yet they'll still get accosted for it. They'll still get accosted for it. You still get accosted for it and everything. They still get accosted for it, even if they make the minor of mistakes. Even if you make the most minor of mistakes, they still got accosted for it. For example, my mom, okay. For example, my mother, 2 years ago, before the pandemic, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, about 2 years, 2.5 years ago. Out of jest, she didn't mean to say it because, she's trying to have some fun, lighten the mood with the fellow teachers and everything. My mom, out of jest, accidentally let a certain racial slur slip out of her mouth by accident. She let it slip out of her mouth by accident. And she didn't mean anything by it. It was just, she was joking around with another teacher of said race, and she just let it slip. And she didn't mean it. It was an accidental infragmentation that she did, or infragment that she did. And what happened? Instead of letting it go, like it seemed like, according to my mom, that this teacher was going to do, this teacher that she thought she could trust turned it inside out and twisted it with a knife. And basically nearly cost my mom her job of over 20 years. So you see, and thankfully, the only punishment my mom got was a week-long suspension. And she ended up what they call floating across different preschool schools, if you will, preschool Head Starts that were owned by the Head Start people that run those regions and those schools. So that's all she suffered from. And then, to add to that, she ended up going to another location the following year before she went back to where she's known to and she's currently at right now. All because of a minor infragmentation. So yeah, she paid the price, but it was something that could have easily went under the rug. And on top of that, this lady has been known, according to what my mom found out from other people, has been known to cause a lot of trouble. Like she'll play nice, she'll act like she's trustworthy, to you and everything. You can say anything you want to her or joke around with her. But when you say something that, you don't mean to say, by accident or in jest, that's when or you do something that you don't mean to do, or you did by accident, you're trying to fix it. She's the kind of person that will, turn it around on you, if you know what I mean. And my mom's not the only one. My niece has dealt with this a lot. She recently got a job at the Olive Garden. And all because of the fact that the people at the job that her mom works at, one of the jobs I applied for recently, and hopefully we'll get a call back from, basically, they were screwing up with her not just her hours, if you will, but they were screwing up with her paycheck. It's like they were doing this and that, and it seemed a little off to her, like something was not right. Something was not, clicking, if you will. And her mom, my sister, had also dealt with that before, but because she had been this long enough, she's got what's known as well, I wouldn't say she's got what's known as seniority, but she's got enough say right now, especially being in the position they promoted her into, that she doesn't really have to worry too much. But my niece feels like she was getting targeted, and even her mom, my sister, that, like I said, has enough time that she has a little bit of say of what, she has some say because of the position she was put in. Even she feels like something's off, something was off, something didn't make any sense. Anyway, like I said, she decided she's going to go to the Olive Garden, which I'm happy she's got, and, try there because she has experience being a waitress, in the past. So maybe, going back to that is what she needs. But then again, she's not the only one in my family. My second oldest sister has dealt with this as a waitress. She's dealt with this when she worked for Buffalo Wild Wings. She's dealt with this with another place before that. I think it was Uno, Chicago or something like that. She's dealt with it before, and And for what reason? Because she does something minor, a minor infragment. I mean, I don't get it. I really, I really don't get it. A minor infragment, if you will. I mean, I don't know I don't know what was it, one of the, for example, like what I'm trying to say is one of the things she was blamed for. One of the things she was blamed for is, you know how they have fountains in the back, you know, for people to, get refills on the sodas. Like they'll tell the waiter or the waitress after they come up to them and say, hey, and ask, complimentary, how's everything doing? And how is everything? They're like, oh, everything's good. And it's like, okay, can I get you anything else? And you'll say, well, can I get a refill of, let's say, Dr. Pepper, or a refill of Pepsi, or whatever they may have, right? So anyway, what happened as an example. Like I said, it's still early, so I'm a little trying to think what I'm going to say here. For example, my sister, I think this was one of the things she told me she got in trouble for, and it was a minor infragmentation, and it was so minor that to her it didn't make sense because the employees are allowed to do this, especially, they're allowed to do this, or they were allowed to do this, especially if they needed, some kind of refreshments to keep them going, right? So from what my sister said, one of the minor infragmentations she got was because she took a cup, a regular, one of those drinking cups they serve you at a restaurant. Like, let's say, what can I use for an example? Like, I wouldn't say something like that, but something like this. Something like this here. It's all because she took one of those cups, went to the fountain that's, in the kitchen area, or, in between the kitchen area and going into the dining area. And she got herself a little bit of, I think, what was it? Coke, Pepsi, whatever. A little bit of a refreshment. And she got in trouble for that. Thankfully she didn't lose her job, but still she got talked to, and it's like, or she got tattled on. It's like, wait a minute. I didn't do anything wrong, So, and then it's not only that. It's not only that. My second older sister at times would get in trouble just because she was standing up for herself. And if there's anything jobs tell you to do, especially when it comes to those that try to get you in trouble, or try to, they try to get you in trouble, or they're rude to you or whatever, and let's say they're a fellow employee or whatever, they always tell you to stand up for yourself or ignore the situation. My sister tried on numerous occasions to ignore it, and when she couldn't, she tried to stand up. And as a result, the person she would try to ignore or stand up to would twist what was going on and tell the boss of that place, the guy in charge, the guy or gal in charge, what was happening. See what I'm saying? I'm not the only one that got dealt a blow. Yes, I admit what I did was wrong. There's no doubt. I do admit that. But when you compare doing what I did, which was take a few bottles once in a while during lunch or break, maybe even go as far as take, let's say, a little slice of cheesecake or a triple-decker cake, from the bakery, because they had them out there for people to pretty much grab and purchase. If you think that's bad, if you think getting a deli sandwich, one of those deli sandwiches they wrap up and they sell, just like what you would probably see at a nice looking rest stop or whatever. If you think that costs as much as a Walmart store or any kind of big chain retail store, or big box, that's what I'm looking for, big box chain retail store, if you can compare that to them losing thousands of dollars in retail every day, or in total millions of dollars every week, if not billions of dollars every month, and maybe trillions every year, if you're comparing that to what I did or anybody else does similarly, then, to me, what I did and what anybody else does in a similar situation pales in comparison to that. Pales in comparison. Now, I know some people will say, well, sometimes that's just people that are not working for you that are doing that stuff. And I agree. I agree. It is people that are supposedly acting like regular customers that do that. I totally agree. I get that. But there have been employees, even when I worked there, that would do stuff like that. And that's not a lie either. That's not a lie. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Did they lose their job? I don't know. I don't know. But I guarantee you there was people that worked there when I was there that stole more financially than what I did. But I got caught. Now, some might say, well, maybe it was a guardian angel. Maybe God, who sees all, knows all, seen what has been, sees what will be. Maybe the Lord above himself. And this might be fact. This might be reality, because the thing is, I've never seen this AP region lady before. And, she just came out of nowhere. And she was the reason, and she basically was the one that did say, okay, let me see if I can save your job. Maybe she was God's guardian angel saying, Brian, I see what's going to happen at this place. I got to get you out of here. And he did. Even though I was let go in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, we were heading towards the shining light, the silver lining at the end of near the end of the tunnel, where the vaccines were coming in and becoming more prominent, or starting to become more prominent and everything. But still, to me, I was let go during a pandemic, and maybe it was God's way of sending a guardian angel to say, you know what, get that guy out of there. I see what's going to happen here soon. And that's what they did. That's what they did. I mean, one of the videos I uploaded here on my channel about a couple months ago was of something that happened on a Saturday. And usually I didn't work on Saturdays because I wanted to have time to relax, spend with my family, unless they needed me. But anyway, there's a video I put up that someone had put up on Facebook, on the Patterson Neighborhood Facebook page. I think it was the Patterson Neighborhood Watch Uncensored Facebook page. And they basically showed a woman, a young lady, getting in the face of a guy who had a wife, I think, who was riding around in one of the electric carts and all that, along with the kids. And this girl just starts acting up and says, move along, beat, get your feet out of the way and all that. She was acting like, and this was like, from what I could tell, about 11 in the morning. And normally this doesn't happen at 11 in the morning, at that job, really, if not at all. I mean, I can understand it happening in the afternoon. I can imagine happening it definitely at night, seeing as though that was a Saturday, but not in the morning. So either that girl just had an attitude problem, or she was on something. I don't know. But again, it's stuff like that I have now avoided. And here's what's funny too. Okay? My job has not been talked about that much anymore. We have a Facebook group page. My old job has a Facebook page, but it's not been posted on for a long time. That should tell you something. Another thing, there are people I have bumped into that I worked with that were happy to see me, asking if I was still there, and I would tell them no. I explained why. And then one of those last people I talked to, I don't know if she's still there anymore, probably not, because she asked me, are you still there? And usually she would be somebody that on occasions I would ride the bus with to work. She'd be waiting at the bus stop, not down here, but on the other side off of M Street, I think. And, obviously, she's not there anymore because, like I said, she wouldn't have asked me this. But she asked if I was still there, and I said no. And then I explained, why I wasn't there, if you will. I explained why I wasn't there. And she's like, oh, it's like, he said, oh, okay. It's like she kind of, maybe it was a very somber, like, oh, okay, like she kind of understood why I wasn't there anymore, but I could tell, because I've worked with her long enough, that she's like, oh, okay. It's like she can understand, the stupidity. Like, yeah, that definitely sounds like Walmart, if you know what I mean. But what's crazy, even so, is I asked her how things were. I asked her about my front end supervisor, front end team leader, how she's been, because I heard she was still there. And she told me, oh, yeah, she told me, yeah, she's still there, but she hasn't physically been there for a year. And, because she's been sick. Now, I don't know if she's been sick because of the COVID, which could attribute to it, or if it's something else, because my front end team leader had taken several months off prior because of physical illness or something like that, maybe mental illness, I don't know. But she is tough as nails. That's one thing I will say about her. She is tough as nails. And she and I, we got along good. We got along good. She was like the best foil for me, and I was kind of like the best foil for her. We got along pretty good. It does help that we're both the same age, so, that works in our favor. But yeah, according to what this girl told me, she hadn't been, even though she's still employed, she hadn't been there for over a year. Now earlier when I let my dog out to, use the bathroom, I thought to myself, you know what? She has enough time on the books. She has enough time on the books to where she could probably take a year, maybe a year and a half off of work and not worry about it and still get paid. So I wouldn't be surprised if she did. I would not be surprised she did. Now today, if I try to look up working, try to look up a job and let's say try to go to the website again to see if maybe I can get rehired, maybe the whole, well, you're not rehireable, message that I get at this moment, maybe that'll be gone. Maybe because it's been a year, and since a year has passed, now maybe I can get back to work. I don't know. I can't really say. Can't really say. But I will say this. In that time, yes, like a lot of us, I got unemployment. I just refiled successfully my claim. I just registered mostly my account with Cal Jobs. And on top of that, I should say, a year ago today, I officially filed for monetization here on YouTube. And although it took me time, it took me a little over a month or so, I finally got paid. I started to finally get paid. So yeah, a year ago today I was let go, and a year ago today and tomorrow I officially started monetizing with my channel, which has been picking up steam, thankfully, to the point that I came close last month to having another month worth of payment. I was off by $8.50, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's hard to believe it's been a year, guys. It's been a whole year since I was let go. And here's the thing. I've only stepped into Walmart once. And it wasn't in Patterson. It was in Turlock during the Christmas season. It was during the Christmas season in that Walmart. And let me just say let me just say this. Hopefully they clean that Walmart up to the point that it's a lot more organized and something, because it felt like you walk in there, you felt like a sardine. Put it that way. You felt like a freaking sardine. But here's the thing, they had stuff there, but again, it felt like you were a freaking sardine. And the only other times I've dealt with Walmart, like I'm probably going to deal with today, is getting stuff online. And, that's about it. And that was a notification, apparently, that I got on my phone. But, yeah, overall, it's been one heck of a year since I was let go. 6+ years. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? I still have it on me. And if I was to get rehired, I know people would say, well, you sound like a hypocrite and all that. But I'll say this, if I was to get rehired, I would get it back out and I would place it right back here where this Sonic picture is right now. And that's my plaque, if you will, my certificate, my plaque for 5 years. You know, they usually give it to you after you've served a certain amount of time, as well as my buttons. But you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy, guys? Okay, are you ready for this? You know what's crazy? Because of the fact that I felt like I was, look, again, I'll admit, I got what was coming to me. There's no doubt. But to me, it's like, if they couldn't wait for someone that knows that I'm a very dependable guy, despite my wrongness, if you will, my wrongdoing, that if they would have just waited for that person to show up to maybe work out some kind of compensation, like a suspension without pay for a month or whatever, then, then maybe I'd still be there. But you know what's funny? When they let me go on that day, and I'm just looking at this, looking back on this, it's been so funny. They have you turn everything in. They have you turn in your badge. They have you turn in your uniform. They let you keep your buttons and all that because, that's what you earned. Like this here is my original button right here of 5 years. They let you keep stuff like that. But you know what's funny? It's so crazy. You know what's funny? I had 2 vests, all right? Because what they would require you to do, I don't know if this has changed up a little bit, but what they would require you to do, when you would be at self-checkout on either the grocery side or the pharmacy side, or you were walking, or you were in certain areas, whatever, they would have you wearing a yellow vest. Now, usually a yellow vest is saved mainly for the team leaders, like those that are CSMs or CSSs, as they call themselves. That's what it's, that is what it's meant for. CSMs, CSS, supervisors, you name it, right? They usually get a more different colored uniform or vest in this case. Well, what happened is they didn't realize, and because I was still a little upset, but then at the same time, I felt like a weight was taken off my shoulder and all that. What they didn't realize, and what I, again, didn't realize until I got home, because I was a little upset, but then again, like I said, over time, it felt like not over time, but at the same time, it felt like a weight was taken off my shoulders. What happened is I went home and I noticed I had a yellow uniform still. And it wasn't because I got promoted or anything. It's mainly I had it there just in case, I didn't, and just in case I was, my other one got dirty or I needed to grab something real quickly. And they never really said anything, especially since I was doing, some self-checkout a lot of times. Because what they would do is because they had so many of us, and I'm also guessing that's the reason too, but they could have told me that. I'm guessing, not saying it was, but they could have told me that if that was part of the reason. If that was part of the reason. But to me, I had that other uniform at home. So you know what I did? And I did a video of it, and so right here on my channel. And I edited as best I could in black and white and all that, past whatever. I took that vest. Because I felt, I got to close this chapter since it's not going to be part of my life anymore, or at least for the time. I took that and I put it in the recycling bin. Yeah. I took that yellow vest and I put it in the recycling bin. And I looked out this window here when the recycling came the next day. And I saw it go right into that recycling. Right into the back of that recycling truck, I should say. And since that time, it's been recycled and basically turned into, I would assume, other products. Yeah, that's what I did. My initial thought, honestly, but I should have waited till it was a little bit more wet, if you will, a little bit more muddy. My initial idea was to bury it, in the ground. Bury it in the ground and let it, disintegrate, deteriorate under there. But that didn't happen. That did not happen. Instead, I opted for putting it into the recycling bin and it got recycled. That's what I did, legitimately. That is what I did legitimately. I recycled that yellow vest. Because when they let me go, they didn't even bother. They didn't even bother to ask if I had any more uniforms, on me and if I could return them as soon as possible. They didn't even bother to ask me that. And usually any company would ask you that if they're letting you go due to what I did, which was wrong, or because, they had too many people and they had to let people go for, balance reasons, budget reasons, financial reasons, or, just, they had reached the capacity of employees that they had, which when you have a capacity of employees, it should be unlimited, not limited, if you know what I mean. And again, that does make me wonder, part of the reason, again, I'm guessing if it's part of the reason that they let me go was because they had way too many cooks in the kitchen, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know if maybe down the line I'll find out. Maybe I'll get an answer down the line, but yeah, it makes me wonder. I mean, yes, I was let go for what I did because it was wrong. It was mostly, if not partially, my fault. But again, it also makes me wonder, perhaps I was let go because they had too many cooks in the kitchen, if you catch my drift. I don't know. I don't really know. But I will say this. Like I said, it's I've had this, I'll say it this way. I've had this feeling that since I've been gone, things have definitely changed. Because there was people that liked me. There were people that liked me. Teeth be damned, if you will. Excuse my language, God. But teeth be damned that, and how they looked and everything. People still like me. They still like me. I mean, one time I had just gotten off the bus because they knew I was dependable. I had gotten off the bus and my team leader, the one that's been gone for a year, but she still works there, she called me up and said, "Hey, can you come in at this certain time tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh yeah, no problem." And she said, "Cool, I'll write you in for that." Because she knew she could depend on me. The point of the matter is this. The fact of the matter is this. In the end, what I did was wrong. There's no getting around that. What I did was wrong. It was mostly, which a lot of people will say it was, if not partially my fault. What I did was wrong. And, I could blame the pandemic and COVID for throwing, not just me, but everybody, that was employed at that time, no matter whether it was at Walmart or whatever job. I can blame COVID all I want for throwing us off mentally because of what it had done, not just to us, but to the customers. I can blame that all I want. But what I did was wrong. And there's no doubt about that. And even though I asked the Lord above here for forgiveness every time I did it, and I asked him basically to help my job to understand why I was doing it, I knew eventually it was going to catch up to me. And you know what? Again, I've never seen that AP lady. Nobody has ever had. So you have to wonder if that was God sending his guardian angel down because he saw the direction the store was going in. And it's hard to not believe that could have been the reason, or that could have been who she was. Because again, she acted nice and everything. She tried to say, she even tried to say, "Hey, let's see if we can keep you a job," and everything. And it's like, it's almost like in a way, God knew what was going to happen. He sent somebody down that I'd never seen before. Nobody had seen before. But apparently, they knew about. They hadn't seen her before, but they knew about her. Because God can do those things. God can put a guardian angel in the form of somebody and basically make them be unknown by others. And then when you try to probably ask later on if they've seen this person that works in the same area as they do, in this case asset protection, they'll be like, I don't know who you're talking about. God, as the old saying goes, God works in mysterious ways. So maybe that was a guardian angel that he sent down, that he pretty much made known to everybody, and then that's it. I can't really say. I mean, I have my suspicions basically as to why they just didn't want to wait and all that. And, that's fine. That's fine. Didn't want to wait. I have my suspicions. But when I start noticing a lot of things and I start getting this feeling that, this person's no longer there, and I start talking to people, noticing that, kind of getting the feeling that that person's not there, and then finding out from said person that the person that I used to, take orders from used to be assigned to cash registers or assigned to, basically what I'm trying to say is that when I find out from one person that I have a feeling is no longer there, tell me that the one person that was my friend and team leader who would assign me and anybody else to certain registers for that day, or at least after we got back from break to give others breaks, when I find out that she's not been there for a year, even though she's still employed, yeah, something's not right. I mean, to me, like I said, she's got plenty of time on the books, so I would not be surprised. That's just somebody's car alarm going off. But like I said, I would not be surprised whether or not, because she has so much time on the books that she just wanted to get away from it. It might be a sickness. I don't know. Like I said, it's COVID, a pandemic related. Pray to God it's not. But it might just be more of a physical, if not mental illness. Like, I can't be here anymore because here's the thing, even when I was there with her, even she'd be like, yes, she'd be even, confuddled, if you will. She would be frustrated and confused and wondering, okay, well, you tell us this, you tell me to tell them this, and now you're telling me to tell them that. I mean, there's been numerous times where she'll tell me, okay, I need you to do this because they need this done. And then not even long after, she'll be like, you know what, Brian, ignore that. Now they want this done. And it's like, seriously, what the hell? Make up your mind, okay? Make up your mind. And excuse me for saying that word, Lord. But make up your mind. You know what I'm saying? And it was even crazier is I'm one of those guys that they would depend on to go out in the parking lot and fill in for cart duty, either for a couple hours or a whole day, when no one else would. Yeah, I had the experience, but one of the job titles that you get hired for when you become a front-end person, is not just cashiering or customer service, it's cart person. It's not just doors and all that, guarding doors and all that, it's cart pushing. That's what it was. And then on top of that, you know what else I would do? I'll tell you what I would do. Come with me. Okay? Let me show you some of it if she kept it here. She left them here. Let me see. She might have put them under the sink. Hold on. Let me see. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. Then she put them under here. Well, wherever she put them. Anyway, trying to see. She bought a set of gloves, is what she did. She probably has them with her. But my mom, the other day went to Rite Aid after work, bought a box of gloves, if you will, like plastic gloves, the kind of gloves you work when the kind of gloves you wear when you're working in certain areas, like underneath things and all that. Well, for me, that's what I would do. They would ask me, my friend and team leader, who, like I said, still works with them, but has been gone for a year apparently, she would ask me because, obviously they needed help. She would ask me if I could clean under the registers. And we're not just talking clean under, like, oh, get the trash cans and all that, get the separate trash cans that they had there, one for trash, one for the plastic hangers and all that. Oh, no, don't just get them. Don't just get them. Oh, no, don't get them. Don't just get them. No. You know what she would ask me to do? She'd ask me to take a screwdriver, get a plastic garbage bag, get a cart, put the garbage bag in said cart, set it up to where it's open and everything, get the screwdriver, get down on my knees like this, next to a register that wasn't open, unscrew a certain panel, open it, and take the trash out from under there. And the reason, of course, for the gloves is to make sure I didn't, touch anything icky or disgusting. But also the reason they did it was because, of course, inspections, and also to make sure we didn't have a rodential problem. Which, oh, by the way, when I would go to the registers, heading down to the pharmacy side, at one point, I opened up those, and they said, don't worry about them. And I was like, why not? Well, this is before I asked that. I looked underneath, and they had rat traps, poison traps, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. I didn't touch those, but the point is, I did what they asked me to do. I was basically a utility player, if you will, the utility member of that team. And a very dependable one, too. One, they could go to customer service in the past year and do the best I could there, and probably just as well as anybody else. At times, I was left at customer service for a couple of hours. I didn't mind it. It was a change of pace. I loved it. I thought it was the next step to becoming a CSM because that was my main goal. That was my main goal. And it never happened. But you know what? It was close. And if it wasn't for my stupidity, it would have happened. If it wasn't for the fact that along with my stupidity and their impatience not to wait and figure something better out to keep one of the more dependable people they have there on the roster, if it wasn't for that, I probably would still be there. And I probably would be a CSM right now. I mean, right now, it is about 8:10 in the morning. You know what I'd be doing? You know what I'd be doing if it wasn't for my own stupidity? If it wasn't for my own stupidity, and if it wasn't for them not having the patience to wait it out and say, okay, wait till this front end team leader that depends on him comes in tomorrow and see what happens. If it wasn't for any of that, right now, 8:10 in the morning Pacific time, on this day, I'd probably be a CSM. I'd probably be a manager. And that's a fact. That is a fact. But again, because of my stupidity, and because of the fact that they didn't talk to me sooner, or they didn't want to wait until someone that knows they could depend on me because I'm a good worker to talk to me and maybe come up with a more suitable punishment instead of straight out let go, if you will, for my own stupidity, my own wrongness, which I admit to, whether it's mostly or partial, whatever the case may be, I would still be with them. I would still be part of that store right now. And again, I'm kind of suspicious whether or not part of me being let go wasn't just because of my own stupidity and my own wrongness that I did. Minor, mostly partial and minor in fragmentation or minor fragmentation or whatever. It still makes me wonder, and I'm only guessing, if they also let me go because they had too many people. I mean, think about it. I live here in Newman. My job's in Patterson. I can't work certain hours. I had to close. I had to change it from an open schedule to a closed schedule. You have to wonder if maybe that played a factor. I don't know. But yeah, 1 year ago today, in closing, guys, was the day they let me go because of my own stupidity and everything, which I admit to. But also, I think, and I'm just guessing. I'm not confirming this, but I'm also guessing partially maybe because they had too many people, and some of the people they had, couldn't work certain hours that they wanted them to, which I could be included within that group as. But yeah, 1 year ago I lost my job, but thankfully God has helped me bounce back as best as I could. I'm making money off this YouTube channel now for the past year as well, or going on a past year. And hopefully the revenue will increase. And hopefully before this year's out, I'll be working again, either at my older sister's job at the Kohl's warehouse in Patterson, whether it's here in town at Nob Hill, or it's a Kohl's store in Turlock or wherever, or even Target. Hopefully I'll be working again. But let me know what your thoughts are down below, guys. Thank you all for watching and commenting during the live stream. Really appreciate it. Like the video. Like I said, like the video. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. Comment below, post live stream if you are going to be watching this video later. Check out my Teespring store as well. I got more merchandise coming up, and that helps me as well financially. But again, thank you all for watching. But yeah, 1 year ago, lost the job, but thank God I bounced back, and maybe, who knows, maybe I might be able to go back if it's only been a year-long punishment, but we'll see. But again, thank you all for joining me. Check out the Teespring store, like the video, comment below, post live stream, and I am out, and I will talk to you all later.